Hi, it's Tracy from Two Rocks Tarot. Welcome to my channel if you haven't been here before. So today I'm going to be doing an Emerald Lotus divination spread called Past Year Reflection. I actually watched her Past Year Reflection video this morning, and today is the 18th of December, and of the 18th of December last year was my first round of chemo already, so it's been a year since all that kerfuffle started. And I don't really want to do year ahead readings. I'd rather just kind of focus in the moment, but I thought having a past year reflection was a really good one to do. And I thought it would be interesting for me to just see, you know, what I've learnt. I have learned a lot, but, you know, what the tarot actually says. So I'm going to be using the Shadowlands Tarot, and what I'll do is, as usual, I'll just put a card up on the screen. This was my Christmas present from my BFF, Nina from Shuffle Tarot. So there's only 6 questions in this, but let's have a look and see what this card says. This is the first time I've ever used these cards, so this will be interesting. So the first one question is card to represent me this past year. Now she actually Emerald Lotus got a little, she used a little oracle card after each pull. And you know what, I might actually do that. So I'm just going to grab one. So excuse the background because I'm still waiting for my new desk. So it's not the best background at the moment, but yeah, it's supposed to be coming from 21st to the 23rd, we'll see. So I might actually pull a card from Let It Go by Acc No. I've actually never done that before, but why not? She had, I can't remember what deck she had, but it was a similar one, a little one to these, and I've edged mine in that. So I will put it so I can grab it easily and hopefully don't shake the desk to death. Okay, so card to represent me this past year. Really jumpy actually. Card to represent me this past year. See, now you can see, because of the way this is lower, you can all see my terrible shuffling skills. Oh, that one popped right up. Card to represent me this past year. Oh, that's quite perfect actually. Perfect. The moon. Have a look at that. The first thing that I'm drawn to is the wolf-like creature on the moon. And the road, just the road, you know, I mean, she's actually walking, I'll put the card up there, but she's actually walking a, oh, what are they called? A lobster? Crayfish? We call them crayfish in Australia, but I think it could be a lobster, if this, you know. Walking along a yellow road, and that's exactly, yeah, oh God, this reflects me so well, I can't even say it, hey, because I'm a witch, so she's got a hat on. It's actually making me tear up a bit. I think that leash, that little crayfish, represents the cancer that I had inside me. You know, it was attached to me. It was eating away at me. And even if I face the card like this, no, it doesn't work. So don't worry what I was going to say. And the long journey it took to get home. There's a little house in the background to get back. To get the house, I think, reflects my body, to get my body back to what it was, and that is having no cancer whatsoever. And the wolf at the moon is all the thoughts that you have going through your head when you first get diagnosed, like. Okay, as I was saying, it reflects all the thoughts that you have when you first get diagnosed with cancer. As you can see, I'm wearing something different because my video, I upgraded the editing software and then it just disappeared. I couldn't get it to work. I couldn't get the video to work. So it took me this long. Today's the 20th now. Anyway, so like I was saying, is that, yeah, all the thoughts that basically howl in your mind, like, you know, I was worried that I wouldn't be here to celebrate this Christmas, you know, because when you first got diagnosed, you know, you got to go through a lot of tests to find out what grade it is. I don't actually like saying stages now. They say what grade it is. And so, you know, all them thoughts of what was going to happen kind of thing. And the road, you know, it is such a windy road. It's not a straight road. So once you start your chemo, you know, things can happen. So the first one, like, knocked me out. So on Christmas last year, I slept through most of it, and then I got up and I actually managed to eat my Christmas meal, and that was the first meal that I had for a couple of weeks, the proper food. And it wasn't because of nausea or anything like that. I actually didn't get that. I was lucky. Well, I wasn't lucky. It's just that they give you quite good medication so you don't actually throw up. So I didn't actually get that. I suffered from a lot of reflux. So the wind in the road is all the little hiccups that happen when you're going through treatment. So for me, it was reflux. I actually had to go on tablets for that, but that was pretty mild. Of course, the fatigue that I've discussed before, the aches in your bones, but it was a long, windy road. It's hard to explain when you haven't actually been. I don't think anybody who hasn't been through this kind of a journey can ever will really understand what it's like to go through it. And the moon, the wolf at the moon, what they say, the wolf at the door, and that's what cancer is like. It's in the back of your mind. You're going to beat it. What's going to happen? Will it come back? All these sorts of things. And that was, and there was a lot of reflecting on the moon. I don't think I dreamed. I'm having some really wicked dreams now, but I don't think I even dreamed much either. My body really, how can I say it, was really focused on healing. So the first 2 times of chemo, I didn't take crystals, and then I got in contact with my teacher because I'm a crystal therapist, and I explained to her what was happening to me, what crystals I should take, and she said to take some smoky quartz. Now, when I took the smoke, I have done a video on this, so what crystals that help with my chemo, which I might put a flag up, I don't know. But it was amazing. The 3rd time that I took the crystals with, I hardly had any effects, as many as effects, the tiredness, because usually, it wipes you out for a week. You just constantly sleep, and you can't, and it's not a sleep where you just gently drift off. It's your eyes roll in the back of your head like you're being put under anaesthetic, and you're out and you're snoring. Literally, I was snoring a lot. So there was a lot of them little things, and then of course the final 4 rounds of chemo were the most brutal ones. They're the ones, I still have got not much feeling in this thumb. It's sort of pins and needles type of a thing. And then it was I thought all my teeth were going to fall out because I had aches down my throat. I had ulcers in my mouth that were that sore that I couldn't actually lick my lips. I couldn't eat for like 3 or 4 days. Went to the doctor. They have no bloody clue, even though the cancer, they give you all these leaflets to explain to the doctor what's happening. It was just exactly like that road. It was a long, winding road, and there was little hiccups on the way with what happens with your treatment, which is perfectly normal. But the frustrating part was, as they always say, to go see your local doctor, and they haven't got a bloody clue. And my oncologist just said he just said, look, if anything like that happens again, he said, just ring me. I'm always here for you. And he actually helped me out with some stuff. So that is a really good reflection, because I just didn't know. And actually, when I look closer at these, there's 2 trees that look like Christmas trees, don't they, on there? And only yesterday, my stepdaughter wanted us to get Christmas hats, and I didn't want to. I don't want to wear a Christmas hat on Christmas Day. It's going to be like 40 degrees here. It's going to be very hot, and I get kind of. I don't have as much hot flushes now because the hormone tablets that I take just stop my hormones producing, which is what caused my cancer. All of that's nearly pushed out now. I very rarely get hot flushes now, which is good. But I said I'm not wearing a hat. He called me a Christmas Scrooge. Maybe I am, but I just couldn't bear the thought of wearing anything hot on my head. Seriously. So that is a perfect card on the reflecting, because it's there's all these. When you look at that card, as you can see, there's blues, there's purples, there's yellows. There's all these shadows that you don't really know what the hell's going to happen. It's actually, I just can't say how much of a perfect card is the moon, because we all know the moon is, it's been a little bit bastardized, the moon, over the years. It's not always such a negative card. It's trying to look, I suppose, past the darkness and finding the light. And so despite that wolf hounding at the door, that them thoughts that sometimes used to play in my mind, it wasn't too bad. I always looked at the light beyond. I was, really in touch with the goddess, my gods, my angels. They all helped me see the light and focus on the positive. And And here I am. So let's have a look at what the little let go, okay? Because this is to represent me this past year. So let's have a look what let go says. On there. So this one, that's the this is a picture, and of course I'll put it up there. Actually, I shouldn't show you the pictures, so I'll just put them up there. But on the back it says, and I've been having this message quite a lot because I've been doing a little bit of meditation, something I'm going to share in another video that came through to me. But it says, forget what has already been and wake up tomorrow to a paradise of your own creation. Couldn't be more perfect than that, could it? It couldn't be. So, and yeah, that's what I've been a little bit struggling with, is actually forgetting what I've been through. And it's just because it's, when you get treatment for cancer, you know, it's so full on, like all these tests and shit and the medication and all that sort of stuff you have, and then it's finished, and then suddenly you're left on your own, and there's no, I can't say there's no support, because they always offered me counselling, but there's no, unless you've been through it, you can't really discuss, it's just hard to wrap around your head. You know, you're just supposed to get your life, you know, just continue on with life, you know, like nothing happened, and that's really, really hard. That's a hard thing to do, but a lot of my messages have been now to just let it go and to focus on the positive things now, which is true. But I mean, every year for the next 5 years I have to get tested. So I'm already having my first test in March, where they'll check my my chest wall and my, you know, my remaining lymph nodes, and you know, and that's always going to frighten me a bit. But I've been having some really positive messages, which is really, really good. So the next actual question is a soul lesson I was learning this past year. If you're wondering why my arm is, my arm is all like this, the ladies in the radiotherapy used to say they are dragon scales, because at night I wear an armband to help the lymph nodes sort of drain, and it leaves that mark on your arm. But I've washed my other ones, just waiting to dry. I can't put that on yet, it's still wet, so that's why my arm looks a little bit weird. So you wake up like that, and yeah, that's what one of my radiologists, she said to me, the nurses said, we call them dragon scales because you're all so brave. I thought that was quite beautiful. So a soul lesson I was learning this past year. I've actually got two cards that pulled up here. Just make sure it's two, isn't it? Okay. Alright. A soul lesson. Oh, don't drop them. Okay, so the first one is the King of Pentacles, and the second one is the Three of Cups. So that's interesting. A soul lesson. Of course, I'm going to put up the cards so I don't, you know, but I'm just looking at them now. The King of Pentacles. You know, the King of Pentacles kind of reminds me of my husband, because it's got the, you know, it's got the coin. He takes care of the finances. Like, I haven't worked for about 6 years now, because being deaf, you know, they don't want to know you. And then what I've had as well, you know, I doubt I'll ever work again, really. But also I'm focused on the crystal that he's got in his hand, because he was very surprised at how much crystals helped me. So when I still had my boob, you know, I was constantly using malachite for the pain, you know, smoky quartz, you know, I was using lots and lots of different crystals, and he was quite surprised. And because it's got crystals on his head as well, it's quite interesting. But he was very focused on the finances, because because we haven't got private health insurance, everything was public. But I have to say, I was treated really, really well, like really, really well. So there was no problems like that. But this is a past, like a soul lesson I was learning, and he was, you know, watching the money, you know, had to come up with, you know, a couple hundred here for a scan or a bone scan or whatever it was that I needed, so medicine, you know, that sort of thing. And I think what this actually sort of says, I think it's kind of, both of us have learned that, is that, oh, how can I explain it, is that money's not everything, all right? And we knew when I got sick that we weren't going to be able to save this year. And every now and again he stresses, like yesterday or the day before or something, I upgraded my video software and things stuffed up, and anyway, I shouldn't have spent the money. And then he said to me, I really shouldn't stress about money so much. So for both of us, it's like, they say money can't buy happiness, but when something like this happens to you, it brings you down to earth. Like, I mean, we were very, very happy, and I was very happy with my life. I didn't need this shit to come into it, but I never questioned the why of it, because it just is. Why does it happen into anybody's lives? It's just what happens, you know. So I never asked why I got this. It just is. So it brings you down to earth, and it makes you realise that money's not everything. And I kind of feel like that this lesson was more for him, because he was always stressing about money, and he's having this happen to us has actually relaxed him a bit, because he's not so worried about it now. You know, we survived. We actually applied for a credit card when I found out I was sick, because we just didn't know how much this was all going to cost, you know, not having any health insurance. We never had to touch it. We always managed. Even with my teeth, like, you know, I had to get them fixed so I can do my last bit of treatment, which I think after the 20th of January I'll get my first transfusion. My oncologist was really pleased with my progress. So I think it was being brought back to earth and realising that actually our needs were taken care of. Even though we were worried about money, everything sort of went okay. Everything was sort of okay. And I think the Three of Cups is the celebration of every victory. So when I wasn't so sick after my chemo, it was, you know, we had a little bit of a celebration about it. When I could eat and something didn't taste like salt, because when you have chemo, everything tastes like freaking salt. Even water, when you drink, everything tastes like salt. I just can't tell you enough. So even that was a little celebration. So the Three of Cups is, you know, being able to eat and drink and everything. It tasting normal. Wouldn't happen very often, but when it did, it was good. So I think also it's really hard to put in words, hey. It's quite a deep, it's something I'm going to sort of look over when I finish filming, but I think is actually celebrating life as well. Even though I didn't think I didn't, but it's the little things, I think, sometimes that you can forget about. And I don't know, it's really hard to explain. I don't know if I'll keep this bit in or cut it out, but if you're looking at them together, you know, the crystals kept us grounded. The money was there. It was okay. We managed, even when getting my teeth. I suppose the celebration of when the oncologist too told me that I was in remission, even though I have to, you know, get tests every 5 years. But, you know, he said you can consider yourself in remission. So that was a celebration to have. And I think I'll just leave it at that, because it's really, it's very hard to, yeah, it's just hard. Let's pull a little card from Oracle and see what they have. But I think basically is keeping grounded and celebrating the small things despite of everything that happened to me this particular year. So let's have a look what these little, oh, that one popped right up. And it says, dismiss thoughts that don't lead to the garden of infinite possibilities. And that's just kind of following on nicely from the other one about that. So yeah, I've rambled on enough about that. Okay, so how this soul lesson changed me. Let's have a look how this soul lesson changed me. I don't want 1,000 cards. I know it's changed me in a lot of ways, but how this soul lesson changed me. Just one card, please. It's actually shuffled quite nicely. How this soul lesson changed. That one there. Okay. Ah, the Knight of Swords. When I look at that image, the Knight of Swords, how this soul lesson changed me is that this is a very, well, of course you fight for your life, don't you? But how it changed me is I'm ready for anything now. I faced this head on. You know, the funny thing is, before I got sick, I had this really great, the older I got, the more fearful I got of dying. And it's because I'm so happy with Aaron, because, you know, everyone knows before I was in a shit relationship, before it was an abusive marriage. I was with him for 20 years. So, you know, and the day I met Aaron was the day that my life changed like 100% or 200%, a million times % better. And to see that card, the Knight of Swords, is, you know, and as soon as I found out that I knew I had cancer before they even got the test, I just knew it. You know when you just know? Like, I just knew. So when I found out, like, I did actually have it, that fear, funny enough, went away. Straight away, that fear of dying went away, and I thought, well, what do I have to do to beat this? And I think that card reflects it really, really well. I had to get on my horse, and I had to be my own knight in shining armour while leaning heavily on my husband as he was my rock, and he still is. He still worries about me, you know, if he's not here, you know, what am I going to eating, you know, ring me up, what I had for lunch, you know, all that sort of thing. But I had to be my own knight as well. I couldn't rely on Aaron. He couldn't fix this for me, okay? I could lean on him for emotional support, but he couldn't fix it. He couldn't take it away. You know, it was something that he couldn't fix. So I had to be my own knight in shining armour, and I had to cut away any negative thoughts, and I managed to do that. I managed to stay positive all throughout. It's funny that now that it's all finished that you start to doubt yourself, which is really weird, but I suppose it's just natural, really, when you think about it. So that actually, how it changed me is being ready for anything, and it also showed me how freaking strong I was, because I did not think I was a strong person. So that's how this soul lesson changed me, is just showing me how strong I was, and that I could save myself, and I don't think about dying at all now. I just don't. My main concern now is just you know, staying healthy, you know, as much as I can. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. So let's have a look what the little card says. Let it go. Popped right up. I'm attracted to that one. Beautiful. Find a place of quiet solitude and listen to the goddess of the moon. Is she calling for more love? Is she calling for more love? That's interesting, isn't it? I suppose when you go through, you know, when you go through a mastectomy, a lot of women find that they can't love their bodies anymore. I actually love my scar, because it shows that I've been through a battle and I've won it so far, and I intend to be cancer free for the rest of my life. I still ask for healing every night from my you know, the goddess and gods, my angels and guides. I still ask for all that sort of thing, but I've been some wonderful signs from the goddess and the angels. It's been absolutely amazing. So, but a lot of women struggle with learning to love themselves. You know, they get a reconstruction straight away, and they, you know, whatever it is that, you know, to make them feel like a woman. Well, you know, I'm quite happy with my little prosthetic here, but even though it's hard when you haven't got a cleavage, because I've actually lost a lot of weight too. I can't say that, so that's why the top keeps falling down. But you know, you have to learn to love who you are after your cancer battle. Okay, I've changed. I know I've got lines on my face. My skin's not fantastic. Got a lot of broken capillaries that you can't see from here. That I've been treating with vitamin E, that a really lovely chemist suggested that I try. It's been working quite well. So, but I don't get depressed about it. I'm proud of what I went through, and that I've come through to the other side, and how I look. I had no intention of even getting a tattoo to cover up my scar. I think that side of my body has been through enough. So yeah, that actually just makes perfect sense, you know. It says goddess the moon, is she calling for more love? So maybe perhaps I have to learn how to, you know, love myself even that little bit more, so not to get too depressed of how you know, of the lines and everything like that, which I've been okay. So the fourth one is something that held me back this past year. Well, we all know what that was, doesn't it? So something that held me back this past year. What interesting card. This is actually my card in, you know, when you have your cards, oh, it's the World. I got the World. Something that held me back this past year, and to get the World wasn't reversed. Well, I don't read reversals, but I think despite all of this, I didn't get held back, which is it's actually making me a bit emotional. Because I'm really attracted. You know what I'm attracted to the most? Under the 21, that little love heart there. I really trusted, and all the little creatures around it, and actually I had a lot of messages from birds. There's a crow there, and a lot of messages from crows. When I first found out I was sick and I went for a walk, and 3 crows come up from behind me and landed on a tree and turned around, looked straight at me, and I thought, the triple goddess is with me, I'll be okay. And that is on here too. So despite, you know, how enclosed you are when you go through something like this, I was protected. So even this is like held me back. I don't really think I was held back. I protected myself. I trusted in the gods. I trusted in my guides. I got lots and lots of love from you guys, from the tarot community. You know, still now I get an email from complete strangers saying that, you know, they check up on me and seeing how I'm going. It's beautiful. So I don't think I really was held back. I think this was a cycle that I had to go through, and yeah, and that's what I'm going to take it. I don't really think I was held back, which is quite amazing, isn't it? Very amazing. Let's see what the little oracle cards here say. Pop right up. Really? A river of love flows through you when you let go. And I think that was it. I just let go and just concentrated on the healing. That's actually quite nice to draw. I've never done that before, a card after it. So something that I ignored this past year. Something that I ignored this past year. So it looks like that I still managed to stay grounded despite what I was going through when I look at the world. So something that I ignored this past year. Interesting card to come up, the 6 of Cups. Something that I ignored this past year. Well, I know, you know, before I got sick, you all know how I do, you know, pets and people in spirit messages. The spirits went very quiet, and I know why now, because I had to concentrate on healing. And I think this what this reflects, because the 6 of Cups often is nostalgia for the past and maybe your childhood or things like that. But I'm really attracted to the wings on the back of the head of this figure that's facing at the front, you know, that all the others are looking at. And I feel that reflects the spirits. And I didn't ignore them, but I didn't specifically reach out to them because of what I was going through. So I think that's what I'm going to take from it. I didn't have any nostalgia for the past or anything like that. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But I did miss it, because when they were quiet before I knew I was sick, I was wondering what was wrong. And I think this is what it reflects. I think it reflects the past in yeah, I'm just going to take it at that, to be honest. I just feel like that's what it reflects, is that I had to ignore them, because not all of it, because you know I had some very spiritual moments this past year, but I had to ignore that side, the channeling and stuff like that, because I was ill. So let's see what this little cards say. Your glass is always refillable. Flow like water instead of holding on to perceptions. And it's interesting that we got the 6 of Cups, isn't it? So, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Hey, your glass is refillable despite what you go through. Flow, and going with the flow, you definitely have to. And you have to let go of perception. So it's interesting to have the 6 of Cups and this card actually come up about something that I ignored. I didn't quite ignore them, and I let the spirit flow through me, but I had to stop channeling. I had to, you know, focus on myself. So the final card is something I should be proud of. Oh, that one shot right out. The 2 of Cups. Something I should be proud of. Despite everything we've been through, and despite me being quite nasty at times to Aaron, and I knew I was doing it, but they call it chemo rage. They do, because you are so freaking frustrated with yourself that, you know, because you can't do anything. So despite it all, here we are, still in much as in love as ever, are the 2 of us. We are absolutely nothing has changed in my marriage. A lot of couples break up, funny enough, when they go through cancer. Some just can't cope, some are just plain nasty, and I didn't want to go through the horror stories that I read about partners who left their partners when they were going through this crap. So something I should be proud of is that, actually that reminds us, because we did actually go away for a little break down to Margaret River, enjoy. I don't actually drink anymore, but I've found a beautiful non-alcoholic wine, and we just celebrated, just done things together. So yeah, I think that is something we should be proud of, is that our marriage is as strong as ever, if not stronger, from all that we've been through. I think that's quite beautiful. So let's see what the little let go says, something I should be proud of. So yeah, so despite me, and I was nasty, and it's true, it's an actual thing. It's called chemo rage, because you're just so freaking angry. It's, all the drugs in your body, they're pretty powerful stuff, pretty powerful drugs that you have to have. So and what a perfect card. Something I should be proud of. That was then, this is now. Let go of last year, last week and yesterday, and live in the moment. And that's nothing more perfect than that. And that's exactly right. And that's what we try to do. We try to just, focus on living in the moment, and that's it. So that's this past year reflection that took me a few days to do, because I couldn't get this bloody camera to work, and now it's worked. And I think this is a really good spread. I like this one instead of looking at the year ahead. I can see how far I've come. I've seen the steps, and that's good. As all of her spreads are. I love doing her spreads. So until next time, take care. This is Tracy.